everyone, it's Lynn Dion from Pink Whisper Designs. Today I'm going to show you a fun, easy way to create this 6-panel accordion fold card. This could also be used as a home decor item or a decoration. And we're going to start off with the Harvest Together stamp set. And you've got these cute little scarecrows. We're going to be using both of those and the birds as well. And this set does come with the coordinating dies. So I went ahead off camera and colored everything in because I just want to get to talking more about how I created this accordion fold card. I will list and link all of the colors down below for you that I used today, and these were colored in using the Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens. The next set we're using is the Harvest set. This is part of the Watercolor series. And you can see we're going to use the little bales of hay, that little border of leaves, and the rake. And again, I went ahead and colored these in off camera. And you can see that I colored in some extras as well. And then this set is the Harvest Pumpkin set. And again, this is from the Watercolor series. We're going to be using that larger pumpkin and that little collection of pumpkins. So I've got 3 of those larger pumpkins. I cut these out using my detail scissors. We're also going to be using those little sprigs from this set as well, but I'll show you that as we go along. With my Jelly Roll gel pen in the white, I'm going to add some little highlights. I'll add 3 little dots to the cheeks of each of my little scarecrows, and that will just make everything pop out a little bit more and accentuate our highlighting a little bit better. I did that for all of these little pieces. To create our accordion fold card base, we're using the mini rectangle frame dies from Art Impressions. And we're going to start off by just snipping these apart using our steel die cutters, which is a product that Art Impressions carries. And this is the base. This is to create a little pocket to insert our photo or our stamped images. So it creates this nice little pocket. But again, we're going to do something different with this today. You can see you get 3 rectangles. That's the little easel die. You get an oval and a smaller rectangle, and then you get that little banner die. So we're going to be using these 3 dies today. Let's go ahead and grab some Craft 100-pound cardstock, and I went ahead and die cut 3 of these panels using that largest die. And then I'm going to use some more Craft cardstock and also this kind of burnt orange color cardstock. And that is from the scrapbook.com Warms Smooth cardstock. And this is a nice little collection of colors. And we're going to be gluing those 2 together just to give it a little more substance. And then with the rectangle die, I'm going to the Christmas Season 2 paper pad. We're going to grab that paper that looks like wood grain. And on one side of the paper is a dark wood grain, and on the other side is this light wood grain. These are double-sided papers, and it's a 6x6 paper pack. So I die cut 6 of these. Now you can use either side that you like best, because again, both of those are wood grain, and I cut 6 of those for the 6 panels on our accordion card. Next, let's grab the large letter die set from Art Impressions, but I did want to show you that there's also a large number die set, which is about the same size as the letters. And these are quite large. So let me lay these out on my grid so you can see that. It's about 1 inch by 1 inch. So these are very large, really nice for a project like this. And the numbers are the same, about the same size. So what I'm going to do is glue these together. So I went ahead and glued the rest of the letters. You can see I die cut it twice, once from Craft cardstock and once from that orange colored cardstock. We're going to glue these together. And again, that's just going to give us a little bit of substance, but I don't want them too thick because they will be inside the accordion fold card, and I don't want it to get too bulky. Now here are those 3 panels. 2 of them we're going to leave the little tabs on. The third one, we're going to use our Tim Holtz little mini paper trimmer and trim that away. There's a little score line there, so you want to cut right along that score line. Now we can go ahead and attach these together to create our accordion fold card. So I'm adding some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive along that tab, and I'm going to glue these 2 together. Now I want all of my tabs on one side, on the back side. So I am going to attach these so all of those tabs will be in the back. So let's go ahead and add some glue to this tab, and we'll glue this one together. So the first 2 will have the tabs, and this last piece will have that tab cut away. And this is a really simple way to create our accordion. All the work and measurements are done for us. All we have to do is some quick and easy folding. First, while this panel is flat, I want to go back to that stamp set and grab those little sprigs that I mentioned to you before. And there's 4 different little designs. I'm using my watercolor travel box, which has my 3 sizes of acrylic blocks. It's got a little watercolor palette. It's great for traveling with your supplies. And I'm going to take those 4 little sprigs, place them on my largest acrylic block, and then with some dark brown permanent ink, I'm going to go ahead and stamp these. And I stamp those all over. So I completely covered the front, and I'm also going to do the back the exact same way. Once that was done, I've got my ground Espresso Distress Oxide ink and a blending brush, and I'm going to go all the way around the edges. And again, I'll do that on both sides. That's going to frame this just a little bit better. And you can see I've done that for both sides, and those little tabs are both on the back side of our project. Let's place some of that ground espresso on the glass media mat, spritz it with a little bit of water from our Tim Holtz Distress Sprayer, and with a small brush, I'm going to spatter this entire panel on both sides. That's just going to bring everything together, and you won't see a lot of this background, but you'll see enough to make this really interesting. And then we're also going to add a little bit of shimmer to this. So I'm taking my Distress Spritz in the Fossilized Amber. You want to make sure you shake it up really well, and I'm just going to use the nozzle. I'm going to dip it right into that bottle and spatter this panel, and that's going to give us this beautiful shimmer. And I always feel like this just ties everything together nicely. Now I've got the letters that we created before, and I want to add a little bit of ink around the edges. So I've got a tiny little blending brush going to go around the edges of each of these letters just to age them, give them a little bit more of a rustic look. And then once that's done, I'm also going to spatter these, just like we did with that panel. So I'll place that ink back on my glass media mat, spritz it with some water, and spatter these letters. And I love the size of these letters. Again, it's great for projects like this. You could do someone's birthday in the letters, or Christmas, December 25th. Now I've got the Harvest Sentiment set. See that sentiment that says gather together? We're just going to use the word together. So I'm going to take that, and I actually cut off the word gather, and we're just going to use the together portion. You don't have to cut the stamp if you don't want to. You can always just mask off the word gather. But I found it easier just to cut that away. We can always put it back together. And then going back to that brown permanent ink, I'm going to stamp this. And I'm just lightly stamping it. I like to do a double stamping when something is very detailed like this, and just do a light stamping each time. So now we can glue those 2 together. Just going to use my little Tombow Mono tape runner and glue these together. And again, that's just to give it a little bit more substance. We also want to edge this just like we did with the letters, so I'm going back to that tiny little blending brush and I'm just going to go all the way around. I did end up spattering that just like we did for the letters. And I'll just give you a closer look at those. For these wood grain panels, I'm just going to get rid of that white that shows. It's got a white core to the paper. I'm just tapping it on that permanent brown ink to take away that white edge. I did that for all of those. And now again, those little tabs will be on the back of our projects. So on the front of our project, we're going to fold that first panel back. So I'm folding it back. And then we're just going to create a fan fold, like a zigzag pattern. So let's use the bone folder and press that out nicely. And now I can go ahead and fold the rest of this in that zigzag way. So this one will get folded forward and then back. You can press these out as you go along, or you can just wait till the end. And here I'm just going back and then forward and then back. And I'll just make sure everything lines up nicely. Press that down and again grab that bone folder. So this is really easy. It's just an accordion fold. And all the two little tabs will be on the back side of our project. So now let's go ahead and start adding our pieces. Let's start building up our design, and we're going to start with those wood grain panels, and we'll put one in the center of each of these sections of the card. So I'm using the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, and I do want to make sure I spread it around the edges with my fingers just to make sure that this lays nice and flat, because it is an interactive card, so I want to make sure it doesn't pop up. So let's press that into place. And again, I'm just centering each of these wood grain panels. So I did that for all of these. Now let's build the little seam. So for the first section with the G, I want this little scarecrow, and I want to glue that G off to the right hand corner of the wood grain panel. I'll glue that flat. And then for the little border, we're going to also glue that down towards the bottom right hand side. And then let's go ahead and pop up our little scarecrow. I'm using the scrapbook.com 3D foam squares. I'll place plenty of those around the back. We'll also be popping up the little girl scarecrow at the very end, because those two will be on the outside of our card. So we can add a little bit of dimension to the front and the back of the card. So I'm going to go ahead and pop him up. And then at the very end, I will come back and add a little bale of hay to this front panel. I thought it was a little bit plain, but let's keep going for now. Let's do the back panel, and we're going to this time put that R in the upper left hand corner of the wood grain. So the beginning and the end will match up nicely, and then for all the letters in the middle, they will all be centered. So I've got another little leafy border, and then let's pop her up. So once that was done, we can go ahead and add that final sentiment. So remember, it will say gather together. So I'm going to glue this right to her little dress. And off camera, I did add a little foam square to the right hand side of that banner, just so it wouldn't get flattened out. So again, I'm centering all the rest of the letters. And I'll glue those up towards the top. I want to leave plenty of room at the bottom for all of our little pieces. So this was the fun part, just kind of picking out what I wanted to go where. I had all these little elements, so it's a lot of fun. just to build the little scene. And again, I'm gluing everything flat on these inside panels because I don't want it to get too bulky. Let's add that little leafy border. And then I wanted to add a bird sitting on top of that little bale of hay. We'll place an acrylic block on there and let that dry while we work on this next panel. For this one, I've got that really cute collection of pumpkins. We'll add another leafy border to the front. For each of the sections, I have that little leafy border. That just ties everything together. And then I'm just going to lean this little rake up against the pumpkins. So let's let that one dry. Again, I've got another one of those large pumpkins and a leafy border. I did end up off camera stamping and coloring in one more of these borders. I decided that I thought each of the panels needed that, just again to tie everything together for some continuity for the design. So let's glue this little bird here. And then for this panel, I still have quite a few pieces left over. I'm going to start with the largest bale of hay and then add a smaller one. Well, actually, I'm going to put two large ones and one small one. And then again, that little leafy border. And then that largest pumpkin. And I couldn't quite decide where I wanted to put that, so pretty much anywhere on here would be really cute. And then I had that one little hay bale left over, and that's when I decided to pop it up and put it on that first panel of the card. Next, for a little bit of sparkle, I've got the Buttons Galore and More. These are the Jewelz, and these are the Topaz Jewelz, which are just gorgeous. So I'm going to take my Marvy jewel picker, and I'm going to place a few of these on the front panel and the back panel. Again, I don't want to put any in the middle. I just don't want it to get too bulky. So you can see I added 3 on the back and 3 on the front. This finished project will measure about 2 3/4 by about 3 1/4. I grabbed some twine and I wrapped it around and I tied a bow. So this is a great way to kind of finish off the project. So let's untie this and take a closer look at the finished accordion card. And again, what I'm going to do with mine is I thought it would be a great little decor project. So I'm going to put it on a shelf and decorate it with a few of my little ceramic pumpkins. I have quite a collection of those. So I thought it'd be cute to set up a little vignette with this in the center. So I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a single video. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you all have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.